Hello, hello, hello. Alright. So, it's been a really long time since I've uploaded a video, obviously. Or at least anything JToH related. I just haven't really had the motivation to play JToH, really, since I already, beat the game. And I don't care about Pit of Misery. But I thought I'd come back to do another guide since people seem to like them a lot. And I also like making them, so it's a win-win. Anyway, so today we're going to be doing an easier tower, because I covered all the catastrophics over a certain break, like, a while ago. But today we're going to be doing Tower of Double Trouble. And this is, or should be, one of your first SCs, if not your first, because it is probably, in my opinion, the easiest. And also rated the easiest, I believe, unless there's something lower than it, but I'm not 100% positive. Anyway, if you don't know how to get to Double Trouble, what you want to do is you want to head all the way up here. I won't be there just for the sake of showcasing, but you want to go all the way up to the psychological unsafe towers, and then climb up this rock structure to the left, and go behind the Citadel Green Stuff portal, which there will be this platform down here, and you can go back here, and then go across here. As you can tell, I kind of forgot where it was. I thought you could just drop down, but I guess not. Anyway, Tower Double Trouble. So this tower is mainly just wraparounds. It's really easy. So, anyway, there's really not much to explain here other than just make sure you know how to do, like, a wraparound, I guess. I don't know. My best way to explain how to do a wraparound is you just kind of stand here, give yourself like a little bit of an inward tilt. Not much, like, as you can see, there's like barely anything, and then just turn around the wall. It's kind of simple. I don't know. This tower is going to be kind of hard to commentate on because it's just really just simple. Just a lot of simple gameplay. Yep, come down here. There's also a bunch of lag high jump skips you can do, like down here. You can lag a high jump up to here if you really wanted to, but like, there's realistically no point in doing that, as these jumps are not too hard. Ooh, okay, that was scary. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, yeah, floor 1's pretty easy. Floor 2 is a little bit harder, and I might actually have something to say about this floor. But there are kill bricks, albeit not anything life-threatening, but they are kill bricks. These don't really swing, they just kind of move in place, so you don't really have to worry about that. I like to jump to these, like, from, like, kind of the outside, so I actually land on them like that. I just stop in midair for that jump for a second. Come down here. You can do a skip, I believe, by jumping from this block right here over to here if you wanted to. I think that's possible. Yeah, pretty simple so far. I really don't know what to say to make this interesting, I'm not gonna lie. It's not that interesting of a tower. Alright, so these studs slowly fade away. Just make sure, like, you know where you're jumping before jumping to them. Alright, and floor 3. So, 3's definitely harder than 2 and 1. So, I will try to help you here. So, the floor doesn't start off very hard. It does have this little underhang section down here, though, but as long as you get to the bottom of the blocks, you should be okay. Make sure not to get stuck on the wall here. Make sure to, like, actually turn out a lot. I kind of like to do those head hitters kind of like that. Probably not ideal, but just makes it so you don't get, like, stuck or, like, lodge in between the jumps. Don't underestimate this jump. It's a little long. It's not really long, but it's also like you gotta turn in quickly so you actually land on the half stud and you don't overshoot it. Don't stand all the way to the top here. Get like a little bit farther down from the top and you can just do a long jump. Same thing here. Pretty much it's just copy pasted jumps. Do the same thing. Jump off of this forward so you don't lose momentum there. Yeah. Jump up here. Make sure to jump to the lower part, obviously. Alright. So, this jump is a little far, so don't underestimate it. The jump off of this spinner is pretty easy. It's not the jump I thought it was. It's this jump. This jump I was talking about. This jump's kind of far. So, I like to kind of like walk up to the wall like this, but don't go all the way up, because obviously you'll fall through the gap. And then just turn. And like when you like look in first person, like you get like close enough to the point, you can like push yourself off the wall, kind of like this. That's how you know you'll be able to go around it. And just do the jump. Just make sure you don't jump too early, because it is kind of a far jump. And if you want to time it so the spinner's under you when you actually like try to do the jump, so you can land on it if you fail it, that is also something you can do if you want. It's not necessary though. Yeah, another one of these jumps. Long jump, don't underestimate it. Alright, floor 4. So floor 4 starts with this wraparound, 10 stud wrap, so set it up pretty well. So let me get to our first sets of trusses here. So, I like to flick around to the other side, and then flick up here, and then jump off. And then you can just head hitter around the top of this if you want, though it is only one stud sticking out, so I wouldn't trust that. If you know how to flick around the trusses, you can do that. I can show you how I do it. When I flick my camera, when I want to go one direction, well, so let's say I want to go right, I want to flick my camera to the left. So you flick your camera to the left, and then press D since you need to go right, and then flick your camera back, and tap W right after D, because that kind of keeps you latched onto the truss. Yeah, I have that no board there. I set it up the other day. It wasn't exactly for this. I didn't actually plan to do this until like 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, that's how you flick around trusses. Hopefully that's useful. I don't know if I explained it well or not, but that's kind of how you're supposed to do it. But yeah, Still force pretty simple. I don't know. I like to jump from here instead of over here. Just makes it easier. Hop up here. Go around here. These studs start to disappear again, so just be careful. They're not as hard to see as the ones on floor 2, though. So, that's good. It just wraps to the right. Ladder. Kind of a long jump. Go on these wedges. Get as low as you can, like right about here, and then angle out, and then just wrap around. Alright. Wrap up here. Head hitter. Jump off of this forward so you don't lose momentum. Long jumps. Ladder. Which you could probably skip this ladder if you really wanted to, but that's way harder, to be honest. But on the other hand, this jump. So this is kind of a far truss flick, but there's an alternative where you can just do a long jump like that if you really wanted to, which I'm gonna show both ways instead. But so a truss, just do a truss flick, and you can land there. That's probably, in my opinion, one of, if not the harder jumps. Or not the harder, the hardest jump on the first half of the tower. So just the entire A side. This tower has 3 sides. So yeah, do either way. It doesn't matter, but whatever way you're more comfortable with, obviously. These are ones to walk around. This is a wrap around. I tried to walk around that before because I was in first person. And I just did not know it was a wrap around. So don't be me. Get all the way up to the edge so your head's sticking out before jumping out from there. Go on this tightrope, wrap around. Pretty simple stuff, I'm gonna be honest. I like to jump off of all of these forward so you don't lose momentum on any of them. Be careful jumping into this gap because it is There's something above it. I like to jump in place and then start holding W instead of W and then space. Alright. Wrap all the way up here. All the way over here, up here. Be careful of that wall above. That does make it a little hard to see. Alright. So, you can also do... So this jump's kind of also the same deal. You can jump and kind of climb it like that. You can also just jump up sideways if you want to skip this ladder, but it doesn't really matter. This is kind of the last floor before, like, you kind of have a net. Because, as you can see, like, there's just, like, there's a lot going on up here. There's a lot of places you can land. So I would consider this kind of like the last floor of A-side before, quote-unquote, the net. But, anyway, jump off of this forward so you don't lose too much momentum. That's kind of what you want to do for anything that's slanted that you need to get a lot of distance for. Jump off of it forwards. It doesn't matter if you need to shift sideways after you jump forward. Just make sure you jump off of it forward. That's typically... Or just the way the slope is facing. That's kind of the way you want to do it. Just first person. If you're not a fan of the idea of this ladder flick, you can just wrap around and land on the ladder on the other side. But if you're chill with ladder flicks, you can just ladder flick around. Yep. More wraparounds. You can do a high jump here if you don't want to have to deal with this kind of scary wrap. It's still a little high up, but it's not anything too difficult. Give yourself an inward tilt before doing that jump. Oops, I gave myself too much of an inward tilt. That was kind of silly. Alright, hold on 1 second. Alright, now to not be really dumb, let's wrap around that normally. Another high jump skip you can do is right here, if you don't want to do this upcoming section. Doesn't skip a checkpoint, I'd still do it either way. But before you get to like the end here, just jump so you don't get pushed off by that wall. Rest is pretty free. But the music's a little quiet. Alright. I like to do this wrap to the right. I don't really know why. Just preference. Yeah, pretty simple wraps up to 4-7. Just kind of do. Make sure to do this on this one on the left, and then this one on the right. All right. Now we're on 4-7. So 7 is it has this time button in which you'll need to go across these poles, go over here, wrap over here. There will be a section that appears, I think, once you get over here. I don't honestly remember. It's kind of weird. But if you fall on this pole section, land on the kill brick, it's collidable, so you can just wrap around back here and climb up these and come back up here. Let's go. So this wrap around, okay, that tie rope wrap is pretty scary. Whoa. That tie rope wrap is pretty scary, but it's not. Oops. Okay, I actually get to show you it now because this is also one of the harder jumps. So you can do this jump multiple different ways. I like to just do it out of shift lock or out of first person. Just kind of land like with an angle. That's kind of like the meta for tightrope wraps like that. But you can also do it in first person. Let me see if I can show it. Oh, well, okay, I'll show you this now. What am I doing? Oh my god. Alright, hold on. So you can also do this first person, kind of like that. But I would recommend landing on it at an angle. Any way you feel comfortable doing it, just do it like that. It's probably the best. Jump up here. This is what opens this wall right here. And then you get to this like cylinder section. It's kind of strange, but just simple ladder flicks, and yeah, it's pretty simple. Be careful when you do these wraparounds. Don't get too close to them, like specifically this one, because like with the intersection of like colors here, like, they're just different part colors. They're different parts, so you can, like, header. Yeah, like, as you can see, I hit my head on the intersection there. That can happen if you get too close into a block, so just be careful. Be aware of that. Alright, floor 8. So, 8 is not too hard, if I recall. Do this on the right, do this on the left. Yeah, not too tricky. For this jump right here, I like to jump to it forward and just flick in. Or kind of like pause for a second and then flick in. It's kind of makes it easier to flick in for those jumps that kind of have a small gap. Make sure don't turn before doing these wraparounds. Just jump off like completely sideways and then just turn midair, 180. Don't underestimate this jump, it's far. Like it's actually really kind of far, so don't underestimate that. Another land diagonally. Also another far jump. I'd climb that if I were you. This is not wall hoppable, I think, so don't do that. This one is also not wall hoppable, so do not do that. Alright, floor 9. So this entire floor is timed. So what you want to do is you want to activate this button, wrap around here, land on the neon here. I think there's also some skips on this floor you can pull off. Up here. So you can either do this section normally, which is to the left, or you can just wrap around to the right, like that, and do a skip. This is the normal way, if anyone wants to see it. Alright, some more stick outs. For this jump, run off of it forward. Remember, you always want to jump off in the way, in the way that the slope is facing, and then just shift up. You don't need to climb the ladder at all. It probably makes it harder. You could just jump up like that. Like, it's really easy. But there's also just this wrap for like no reason. I don't know. I would not recommend doing that wrap. I would just do that. It's like a really easy high jump. Last few 1 studs, and bam, floor 10. So this platform does not disappear, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just that up to this last 1 stud. Alright, so floor 10. Floor 10 has a pretty big skip. So I'll show you that. But, okay, don't underestimate that tightrope wraparound. I kind of just did it without thinking, because obviously these jumps are kind of just easy to me. But this is pretty hard for, like, a bottom insane tower. But it's literally the same thing, just land diagonally, but it's just kind of a chunky wrap, so watch out for that. I do that in first person. It's just easier, more convenient. Try to wrap like as tight as possible here, so you actually land on the ball. Try to make sure to land on it sideways. Run off of this forward. Click. Alright, we're getting up to the big skip here. So, land diagonally again. So, the skip here is that... So, originally what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hit this button here, then go back and do this section in here. But, you don't have to do that. You can do a long jump up on top of this, and you can go across the tops of these, which takes you over here. And that skips this entire section down here. So, I'm going to show you how to do it legit, obviously. So, that is something you can do, though. It does not skip a checkpoint. And you are totally valid to do that. I know I did it the first time I beat this, and I know a lot of people did as well. So, don't feel bad about it if you do. Anyway, button. You go back. Just like normal. Kind of a long jump, don't underestimate. So this section isn't actually too hard. It's just, you kind of just want to get to B-side because you pretty much won at that point. So, this can be done in either one of 2 ways. So you can either flick to it and then just land on it like that, which is probably what I would prefer to do. But if you're not comfortable doing that, you can always get on the corner, climb down, and jump off. This one, also another flick around the truss thing, but if you don't want to do that, I don't know how much I'd recommend doing this, because I don't trust like, as you can see, I'm about to, like, pop up from under it. I don't like that. But if you don't want to flick around the truss, but you also don't want to do that, there's another way. If you just keep tapping W, you'll slowly but surely go around the truss, and you're not pressing space, so if you get stuck, just tap space. Like, hold W and just tap space, like, once, and you'll start moving again. There's multiple ways to do those kind of trusses. Those are just, like, the 3 ways that I know best. Probably should have shown that on the truss on floor 4, but it's no big deal. Jump off of this, shift and space at the same time. No need to set that up because it's kind of a thin stud. Easy to slip off. Wrap tightly. And then you're up here, and now you're at the part that the skip takes you to. So, for this truss, you can either flick, which you'll hit your head, I think. No? I guess you won't hit your head. But you could, I'm pretty sure you can also just slide off. No, you can't. Oh, that was really embarrassing. Okay, so you can't slide off. Don't do that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I thought it was tall enough where you could slide off. You cannot. And you also, like, you pretty much don't hit your head on that doing a flick. So just flick there. You just jump off to get here. Another thing, you can just high jump if you're not comfortable doing this upcoming wrap. Pretty sure. Is this possible? It is possible. I just not bad high jumping. Oh well. This wrap isn't that hard anyway. Just give yourself an inward tilt and just wrap around the wall tightly. Far jump. So you can either flip to these from the side without needing to, like, deal with that. Or you can go over here and just jump off. I would climb down just... actually, you don't even need to climb down. But if you do get to this truss, do not flick up from this side, go around, then flick up. Alternatively, you can just tap W. Like, another way to flick is if you, like... You see how you kind of, like, stand on the truss for a second when you get to the top of it? If you like jump when you get into that, like, upward standing position, you can just, like, go up in place. It's only useful for jumps like that, though. These wraps are kind of far. Just, I really don't know how to explain how to do them. They're just kind of, just line up to the edge, just keep your camera close to your character, and just turn properly. Alright, final tie rope, don't mess it up, and you're in B-side. So, B-side. What we're gonna do now is we're going to go down the tower. We're gonna go down to floor 6, and then we're gonna go to C side, and we're gonna go back up to 10. So, 10B. So pressing this button will deactivate certain walls and activate other walls. So hit the button. You have 8 seconds. It's a little quick, but once you get to around... I guess it's just like right there. It's a pretty easy button. Hit this button, then hit this button, and then go back and jump down the hole. So now we're on 9B. So basically that just says falling there will send you back to the 10B. So let's do that. Go over here, hit this morpher. Go back this way. This is a little scary. It's kind of hard to see. Just make sure you know where you're landing before doing that. Hit this morpher. Kind of a long jump. Hit this morpher. Don't hit this morpher on your left, or you'll have to redo some of it. Go up here. Now be careful. Just, another jump in place, then start holding A, or if you prefer to do it holding B. That's okay too. Just jump in place and then start holding the button of your preferred choice to make it onto that one stud. Jump around. Final morpher. Jump down top of the structure. Head all the way back. Don't miss this wraparound. It's kind of hard to see how far it sticks out. But they're all neon. Anyway, 8B. So, this will also send you back to 10B if you fail it. So let's not do that. So you got some of those tightrope wraparounds, as you saw on A side. That's kind of a far wrap up, so don't underestimate that. You can go through this kill brick spinner. Wrap around here. So make sure the wall's out of the way before you do it. This is just straight across, so you can just hop right on through. Go here, around there. Now, this is going to be a survival section down here on 7B, and you need to survive for 25 seconds. So what you're going to do is you're going to jump down here, and you're going to hit this button, and then you're going to stand at either one of these corners. These corners, it cannot hurt you. You're just completely safe. I'm trying to show all of them. This one right here is actually, this one's not safe. This one's fine though. This one's chill. Pretty much they're all chill, except for that one near that like little kill brick patch. But anyway, once you do that, then hop down because the kill brick patch opens. Now this one here, this one I believe doesn't have a net, or this one. I think if you fall here, I think you're okay. Yeah. You don't get teleported back when you fail this one, so you're pretty much on Z side at this point. Anyway, hit this button. And so this is just keep going and hitting buttons, so you can keep your platforms activated. Wrap around to the back side of this ladder. Another tightrope wrap. Always fun. And we get to Seaside. So, Seaside. This is where a lot of people getting here the first time will want to rip their hair out. Because this side is the hardest part. So, I'll try to guide you the best of my abilities. Stay to the bottom here and wrap around. Kind of here. Kind of far jump. This first Seaside floor is pretty simple. Other than some far jumps here and there. Like right there. This wrap's also kind of far out, so make sure you just wrap good. So then we get to 7C. Well, down one, down there, 6C. You just jump off of this. It's a little far. So there's this thing with trusses that you can get called downward momentum. It's where if you start climbing down a truss and then you jump. Like right after, like while climbing down, you jump. And essentially what that does is it gives you more distance but less height. Which this jump, you don't need height, you just need distance. So just head up around to like, so your head's like right under the first truss piece here. Then just turn your camera around so you're facing the front of your character. Hold W, and then just jump right after, and you should be able to make that perfectly fine. These are kind of tight wraparounds. Just stay like flat against the walls. Head up here. These are trusses. You gotta flick around these ones instead of just being able to jump off of them. It's not too bad. Have more disappearing studs, but they're really easy. I like to jump to this from the front, kind of like that. Alright, and then head up here. This is a tricky tightrope wraparound. So, it's actually not, I don't know, that one just feels like harder than the rest for me, I don't really know why. That's a 10-step wrap, be careful. I think it's 10-step wrap, right? Might be 9, I don't know. Anyway, now we get 8C, which is also pretty simple. I would not recommend trying to go around these kind of ladders where they're kind of rigid. Just land on one of the sides and just flick into the gap. Alright, so now something looks different about these next bricks. So these bricks, they just disappear. Just stand on them for too long. You'll fall through them. So you can either do this first jump one of two ways. You can either stand here and wrap around, which is way harder, or you can just tap this brick with your arm, wait for it to disappear, and go right on through. And now, you don't have to go too fast here, but don't take your time too much. Just do the section. Each of the bricks are kind of like different, so like they don't, not a lot of them disappear at the same time. Do this forwards and jump into the neon brick. Alright, so now we're on 9C. So this floor is kind of tricky because you have limited visibility, but you do have the neon bricks to look at. So jump to the front side of these ladders, click here. So you got some tight ropes. Whenever I'm jumping from tightrope to tightrope, I like to go into ghost mode and then just face the tightrope, jump, and go into first person. That's usually how I do those. Just make sure you don't step on the walls. Here, here, and this gap, and headers. So these white kill bricks are not ouch, but they're kill bricks. Anyway, we get up here. Here. So these are like cylinder ladders. Try not to... Oh, wow. Okay, I don't know why that happened. But try not to go around them too much. You can just flick from one to... You can just flick to each one. As long as you land on a semi-good side. They're not tight. Walk around this backwards until you can, like, position your character in front of the tightrope and just walk onto it. Wrap around this wall. We got a few final jumps here. Last jump onto the ladder and hit this white brick, and we're on 10C. Falling here will send you back to the beginning of Seaside, so try not to do that, even though this is by far the hardest part of the tower. So let's do it. All right, so jump to it forward. This you don't need to flick up. You can it'll just make you climb up. Just be careful anyway. Stay close to that wall and wrap to that truss. For this truss, what you want to do, so you can either flick from this front side, but I think that's honestly a lot harder. So try to get on like the side here, so your mouse is aligned with this part of the the stud texture, and then just flick around. It's a ladder, land on the ladder. That's a far jump, don't underestimate it. So you can either jump from here and land on this ladder up here, or you can land down here. Remember, make sure to flick out and then go back on the ladder, because if you flick too close, you'll probably end up jumping off the ladder. And you'll probably land back down here, but rather save you the trouble from having to do any part of this start again. Again, with cylinder ladders, just land on it in one section, flick off. No need to move around them or anything. 10 stud wrap. And this jump. So, hardest jump at the tower. I know I said like the truss on like 4-5 was probably the hardest jump, but I don't even know about this jump entirely. This is a pretty hard jump. So, do that strategy that I told you earlier, where you give yourself a little bit of a tilt in, jump really late, and turn. You don't need to, you don't need to be super precise. Just do it enough so where you can get around the wall. Also, be careful about jumping once you make the jump, because you could jump, grip this stud, and jump off. I have done that before, not on my original completion, but on a rebeat. It's possible. Don't let it happen. Head up here. Now you're on top of the frame. I would not mess around with walking on any part of this frame, because there are like invisible like walls and stuff like that, I think. I don't know if they got changed. May have, may not have. I don't really know. But just also ignore this. This thing, this is literally, you're asking to lose your run if you step on this thing. It's an infinite pusher that just takes you out. But it's kind of buggy, I think. I don't know if they fixed it. But anyway, final jump. Don't do it to the right. I think you can do it, but it's way, way, way harder. 10 stud wrap, or kind of like a wrap up to the left. So I don't know if they patched it, but I know some people, if they have T-pose, if you fail this jump and you just like hold like into the frame and use T-pose, you can catch yourself here and it'll teleport you back to 6C. I don't know if that still works. I'm pretty sure that got patched a long time ago. You can try it if you fail it, but I mean, honestly, this jump really isn't that difficult, so. you'll probably be okay. Anyway, then you beat it. Our double trouble. Yeah, and we get a little tower museum over here of the creator of the tower, of the towers they made. And this is a really nice looking wind room, honestly. I mean, it's a little simple, but it's cool. I just wish you could see outside the wall here, but you can. It's a one-way window. And you can see the tower over there, and the rest, some of the terrain, and some towers over there. And, yeah, double trouble broken into the ground because you just destroyed it. But, yeah, that's double trouble. I think this is a really fun tower, and definitely good fitting for a soul crushing, along with difficulty chart. So, yeah, if this helped you, then I guess I did my job correctly. And yeah, but if you're going to attempt this, good luck. If it's gonna be your first soul crushing, you can do it. It's a little tough, but I think you got this. Okay, anyway, it's gone long enough, so goodbye.